expected to notice her older son. Instead, she turned to her sister. "Anna, read the letter, please. I can hardly bear to wait another moment. We haven't heard from James in months." Anna unfolded a piece of paper and read, "Dear Mama, Anna, and Mitty, I know you will be interested in the following article, which I have copied out in part for you. I do not know if you have heard news from Irvine, but I hear from reliable sources that he escaped harm and is seeking passage back from Europe. It seems, from all accounts, that he had the distinction of firing the last gun discharged from the Alabama's batteries." Teddy's grandmother, Martha Bullock, clapped her hands to her face. "Read the article, please," she requested, her voice high with excitement. Aunt Anna began. "On June 12, 1864, the CSS Alabama had the misfortune to be attacked by the USS Kearsarge off the coast of France. Although Captain Raphael Seams and his crew fought bravely, the Alabama took a mortal shell to the deck and sank within minutes." She skipped a passage and continued. "In its short but illustrious career, the CSS Alabama captured or sank 69 enemy vessels." "Thank God Irvine's safe," Martha interjected. "He served the Alabama until her last shot was fired. Imagine it, girls. That's what we have to focus on. All the victories the Alabama had. I've heard that Lincoln says the war would be over now if the British had not allowed the Alabama to be built in their shipyard. And to think that your brother James was the Confederate admiral who was picked to oversee the entire process of construction and take her out to sea. And your brother Irvine was the midshipman who defended her to the last. I tell you, I could not be more proud if I were Robert E. Lee's mother. We'll defeat the Yankees yet. One thing is for sure. I would rather be buried in a pauper's grave than ever have to live under Yankee rule." "Hush down a little, Mama," Teddy's mother interrupted. "You never know what the servants will repeat." Martha nodded, and then went right on talking. "Things do not look good at the moment with the defeat of the 2 forts in Mobile Bay. But we will turn it around. The South will prevail." As they conversed, Teddy's mother, grandmother, and aunt rolled strips of cotton fabric into bandages. Teddy's heart thrilled every time he thought about the journey these bandages would take, from where he lived in Manhattan Island in New York City, New York, a Union state, to Nassau in the Bahamas, and then through the Union blockade of the South to Roswell, Georgia, in the heart of the Confederacy. His mother and aunt would package the bandages up with toothbrushes, woolen socks, scarves, and soap, and hand them to a mysterious messenger who arrived at their front door at number 28 East 20th Street, promptly at 9 a.m. every Friday. The package would be passed from hand to hand and would travel by train, wagon, and ship before it arrived in the Bahamas, where it would be offloaded and reloaded onto a ship bound for the Confederate South. Once it arrived in the South, one of Teddy's mother's relatives, and she had so many relatives that he could not remember half their names, would unpack it and use the contents to help Southern soldiers. These were the exact same soldiers that Teddy's father wished would be defeated by Union troops, for unlike Teddy's mother, who supported the Confederacy, Teddy's father supported the Union. This was all a bit complicated for Teddy to understand, but the thought of war and blockades and his uncle's escapades on board Confederate ships fired his imagination. In fact, now that his older sister Bamie's spinal condition was a lot better, and she did not have to wear a horrible back brace all the time, the two of them would play exciting war games in the local park. Despite his admiration for his Southern relatives, Teddy always wanted to play a Union captain routing Bamie, who would be a Southern spy.
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it, at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.